what had happened. Apparently, I was dosed with something, and I woke up in the hospital by myself. So that wasn't fun. He decided to leave me there because he didn't want to get in trouble. So, it's just very scary to figure out that you trust someone and, come about that you don't know who they are.
This is Gotham Investigations, and I'm your host, Jeff Giordano. Online scammers create fake profiles. They create relationships with you by gaining your trust. Online dating sites. Sometimes it could be playing Russian roulette with your souls. You're going to meet one of these women that was taken by surprise by one of these online predators. Stay tuned. This is a must-see episode, not only for you, but for all your children. Internet dating, sometimes it's like playing Russian roulette with your soul. We have a special guest on our show today that's going to remain anonymous, but she hired investigations to find out a true identity of an internet predator that she actually dated for some time. We're going to get a fictitious name for you, I guess, so we could just at least call you something throughout the show. I know you wanted your identity to kind of be, remained unanimous, but we'll call you, I guess, Daisy kind of fits your Dominican Puerto
Daisy.
Rican character.
I'll take Daisy, yes, Dominican Puerto Rican background. Talking about internet dating, right? Somebody that I met online.
Well, this is when you had hired Gotham Investigations at the time. I want you to explain your story to our viewers and listeners of how you met him and then how you got up to the point where you hired Gotham Investigations.
So I had a friend who tells me, hey, look, I'm dating online and it's great. And, I never did that before. I was actually very, simple-minded when I did that. And so I decided to try it and went on a couple of apps online. And after a few months, I met someone. And, little by little, we started dating. But every time we went out, things seemed strange. It was kind of vague, but still, being that I wanted to date someone and be more connected, we kept dating. I guess foolish,
And you also said that his picture was nothing like what he looked like in person.
You
didn't even know if it was him or not.
It wasn't at first. We talked online for a bit. So it was, like the usual things that happen nowadays where, you meet online, you start talking, and then you finally decide to meet. At first he sent me pictures, but I guess a little more catfishy. It wasn't who I thought he was, or at least he didn't look the same when we finally met. But so forth, we still decided to date.
And what people don't realize is that's how they develop trust. Is you start conversing back and forth, emails, text messages, and it's common day things where you kind of get into a routine, and these predators kind of slowly are picking away with your guard, your soul, and you kind of feel like a belonging and a sense of being until they finally come into the picture, and then you finally trust them, and then you go out and meet this person in public. Explain us.
I mean, they do give you the right words, the right things to say, because they find out your vulnerabilities, or when you're vulnerable and, you're emotional, and us as women always try to find a connection, right? So they do say the right things, and that's what happened. And we decided to, we kept talking and so forth until we finally met. But at that point, I'm hook, line, and sinker, right? And I'm thinking everything's fine. But still, even when we were together, things seemed off because some stories didn't align. So that did happen. And as we started dating, we finally started dating, got more together, started, going out. We decided to get more together. He would come over to my apartment, and there was just things that he knew about me that I never really stated. So I didn't know to what degree or how he found these things out. So I found that kind of strange.
Now, I remember when you engaged with Gotham Investigations, you had said you found it particularly strange because at a certain time he had to bail. He had to get out of there type of thing. Yeah. And that one day when he went to the bathroom, you opened his wallet and you found out that he had no IDs in there.
Yeah, I mean, that is extremely strange because it's like, who am I dating? What is a stranger that I brought into my home, into my door, who I I'm trying to build a relationship with, and then suddenly there's nothing there. When I asked him questions about his family, he wouldn't really like give me straight answers. So I hired Jeff to find out more information, because I now at this point I'm getting a little worried of who I'm actually mixing myself with. It was a little scary.
So in this particular incident, and just so people out there realize, just because you hire a private investigation company, it doesn't mean you get your answers right away. This particular individual had some stuff covering up his VIN number of the vehicle. And the tag, when we ran the tag, it came back nothing, not on file. Maybe it was an old expired tag that he put a decal on. I couldn't run the decal. The VIN number was covered. So we actually set up on your location with 2 or 3 investigators to follow him one day. The first time he just got away. These things happen. It's not 100% guaranteed just because we follow somebody. There's lights, there's traffic, there's maniac drivers that cut us off, and we don't want to be seen as well, so we have to be incognito. So in this particular incident, around the second time, and you said, no, he comes out here, you were off on a Wednesday, but he has to leave by a certain time. We followed him, and we actually followed him to a probation office in Miami, and that kind of heightened our suspicion from there. And that's where we, in the future, set up surveillances to follow him where he went from there. And we actually followed him to like a halfway house where I guess he kind of like a sentence when you're on probation that you have to stay in this particular location. It's kind of like a rehab house type of thing. So explain us about your journey when you started dating and the incident that you said happened in the Keys and how he started actually drugging you on certain occasions.
Well, the thing is, we, would do things away from the house at this point. We would go on vacations or, visit different locations just to hang out. And, he would like, try this out, for fun, or, see what happens, and let's just enjoy the moment. And, at that time, like I said, I was very vulnerable, very gullible, and I was falling for him. And one of the times he actually put something in my drink, and, I ended up waking up in a hospital in the Keys, and I had no idea what had happened. Apparently, I was dosed with something, and I woke up in the hospital by myself. So that wasn't fun. He decided to leave me there because he didn't want to get in trouble. So, it's just very scary to figure out that you trust someone and, come about that you don't know who they are.
Is there any mental abuse, physical abuse?
No physical abuse. I was one of the lucky ones. It was mostly mental, like verbal things or things that he would say because he's very jealous. Make sure that I dress a certain way, or if I did certain things, he would like try to think that I was trying to provoke other guys, or that I wanted attention more than I wanted to. So it was constantly like a back and forth with those kind of things.
Would he like address you in a specific way? You look like a whore today, or something like that, in that
it was weird because it was subtle in this case. It wasn't where he was like loud about it or noticeable. Like if anybody else met him, would be like, oh, there's no way that he would be like this. But it got to the point where I would just dress down. I wouldn't even wear heels, and I'm a tall person. I'm a big girl, but it got to a point where all of a sudden I was just wearing flats and glasses, and I wouldn't even do my hair because everything would bother him. And it was like little hints all the time of how I should be a certain way. Just to make him feel better.
And what people don't realize is sometimes mental abuse is much more damaging sometimes than physical abuse.
Yeah.
Physical abuse, you get a black eye, you get a bruised cheek, those heal, those go away. But mental abuse stays in you for a long time, if not sometimes ever, unless you go out there and seek help.
Which I did. I had to actually see someone. I actually had to talk to someone because it took me a while to, 3 months of crying, depression in a room, trying to figure out what I did wrong or why was it my fault and why why did I get to that point? Why did I allow it? Why did I, get myself in this situation? And so I did speak to someone, for a few months, and they told me, it was obviously you go through the steps of kind of like AA, you go through certain steps that you have to say, hey, this wasn't my fault. Hey, I didn't do this. It wasn't my fault. How do I get out of it? And thank God that I'm a strong individual and I was able to, but some people don't, and even they tell you like, hey, not everybody gets away from this right away. These things happen, and unfortunately it's just now you have to go through it, and let it out.
So in this particular incident where you woke up in a hospital, you kind of told me you had this huge fear, behind you. Obviously, there's several date rape drugs out there, and you didn't want to pursue a rape treatment center or anything at the time because you still trusted this guy and say, hey, well, if something happened, maybe we're both intoxicated or on drugs or something. Did they ever find out what the drug was or what actually happened with you that brought you there? And did he back you up? Was he at the hospital
No,
with you?
he had actually left me there, and it was a multitude. It was like 3 different drugs. I don't remember the names now, but there was like 3 different drugs in there. They came back with the report, and then thank God I was fine, but waking up in a hospital by yourself with blood in your gown is not a funny story. I actually felt like I was in a scary movie, and the ones that you see for the zombies, and you wake up in the middle of nowhere with stuff attached to you. So that wasn't fun. It was actually very, very scary. And then later on, he tried to reach out to me, and then you and I spoke, and I was just like terrified because now I don't know what else can happen or has happened that I don't even remember, because it was more than one time that we did stuff. So.
And when you say blood, was it were you cut? Did you get blood from falling?
Well,
Was it your blood, his
apparently,
blood?
no. Apparently, from the drugs, I didn't realize what I was doing. So apparently, I was trying to take off all the IVs at the hospital. So I had stuff all over me because of it.
And then when you woke up, you noticed all the blood and what
Yeah.
the hell happened? How
Well,
did
they told me that there was somebody there who brought me to the hospital, and then they left. So that. What do you say to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
And it was such a difficult case because probation officers, you just can't walk in there. I want to know who that person was in there. But later we found out that he did have a spouse previously, I guess years prior, and she died very mysteriously. It was ruled an accident. Apparently she had fell in the swimming pool at their house and drowned. To this day, it still shows an accident. And
Yeah, that we know of, right?
That we know of. We took it one step further, and this is something that we're still working on, but we requested the report from the medical examiner's office. Sometimes, when police go, individual fell in a pool, there's signs, they just rule it they'll check, alcohol, hit head, she hit her head, she fell into the pool, she drowned. They don't pursue it any further, so we're trying to look at that now to see if there were any other drugs in her or maybe even any other physical abuse that might have occurred at that time, because that incident actually occurred a few years prior. So that's very scary when you found that out.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do with that? Like, who is this person that I've been talking to? And this is a thing that, people don't understand, is that you get on an online relationship and you have no idea who this person is. They can fake their picture, they can fake all their identity. Even watching the Tinder swindler. It's just, you just don't know, and it happens all the time because millions of people are in a state of, I want to be with someone, I don't want to be alone. So you fall for whatever they tell you, and then you think that this person's real, that this is a real story, that this is who they really are, and you have no idea. It's all fictitious sometimes, and you just fall for a person that you think you're falling in love for. And they prey on this, and they look for vulnerabilities on your part,
And for our viewers and listeners out there, myself being a policeman for 30 years, first responder to many cases where individuals were raped, robbed. It's the predator out there that seeks you the majority of the time and tries to befriend you. It could be the individual at the grocery store that's like, hey, let me help you, with your groceries type of thing. And the moment you open that door to a predator, he's in, because now your defense mechanisms are down. And you might say no, and he might say, why? What do you have? Are you that subconscious? Are you that you don't believe in people, that I can't help you with your groceries? And you might say, oh, okay, come on, give me a hand. But the regular man out there, if you say, no, I don't need your help, I'll take my own groceries, they'll just walk away and say, what a bitch, that type of thing. But the predator will not. The predator will continue.
Persistent.
He'll continue, and he'll be persistent to get your guard down. Ted Bundy, a bunch of serial killers, they're all out there. Ted Bundy was the nicest, handsome guy. Let me change your tire. Let me help you. Let me do things. So if you're out there, you're in a grocery store, you're going home, You pick who you want to help you. In other words, pick a lady, pick someone out there and say, hey, you, can you help me? Your chances are that much better to survive than having a predator drop your guard and befriend you. So getting to the point where now you know all this is going on, you started to gain trust in him again, and you're just like, okay, we can have fun. You started dating him and stuff like that. You had an incident where you went to work, I think, that day. And tell us what happened. I think you had a plumber or something that was going to your house, and you were talking to him and said, oh, I have to leave work. And he told you, don't worry, I'll take care of this. And that's when you trusted him with your key.
Well, so yeah, I had told him that I needed help with the house, that I had a plumbing issue in the kitchen. And he tells me, don't worry, I got this. What time is the plumber going to the house? I gave him the time, and then he came by my office, picked up the keys. When later on in the afternoon, I decided to go home because he said he would be there, that everything was going to be taken care of. When I decide to get home, my door is open, and when I open the door, everything's gone. So he basically just stole all my shit. So not another time that not cool, decided to trust someone, and now I feel even more violated because first it was the first incident, and now I decided to trust him again, and now I get home and I have nothing. So now I have to start from scratch, and I lost it.
When you say nothing,
I mean, literally, he didn't leave anything. I mean, everything was gone. Except for like stupid stuff like books or whatever, things that are not worth anything to him. But my electronics, my furniture, bedroom set, everything was gone.
And I remember that's when you finally said, enough was enough.
Should have been before, but yeah, decided it should have been way before. But
on that particular one, we were able to get his information from the where he was located because you filed a police report.
Yeah.
You said enough of this shit.
Yeah.
This is enough.
Yeah.
And then we were able to go to the probation office. The police department took over from there. They were able to get him not only for violation of probation but grand theft.
Yeah.
And you were like, luckily your I would say Puerto Rican, Dominican background said, enough of this shit.
Yeah.
You're done.
I mean, unfortunately, it took me to lose all my shit to lose my shit. Like, ironically enough, right? So it was just to the point where I said, okay, yeah, this is enough. I'm done. I can't handle anymore. And now, what's next? Well, I'm waiting for them to come and kill me or beat me up or something. What else can this guy do? So at that point, thank God, nothing else did happen to me, but it's just all material stuff. But like I said, not everybody's that fortunate. For me, it was just shit. But it was my shit. And I'm sorry for all the cursing, but it's the truth. But thank God, yeah, it took me to that point.
And for our viewers and listeners out there, it's hard sometimes because you're dealing with emotions that you're by yourself. You see your friends, your girlfriends, or your boyfriends with somebody, and you want to kind of feel part of the crowd. You hate being the third wheel all the time, going out on things, so you kind of fall for some of these predators and websites. But now you're in a beautiful relationship, and somebody who supports you, and everything is going well, and you have a successful career that we've actually done some business with you, and we won't mention that because I know your story is meant to not only to heal you, but also to give women courage to know when enough is enough, and know when you're being scammed, and know when you're actually identified as the predator's prey.
Unfortunately, people don't like to say the word victim. It is what it is. And at that point, I was a victim. I was violated. And I think a lot of women get scared to speak up and come forward with this, but it happens all the time. Every day, there's billions of stories all around the world, not just to me, but to everyone. And it's not just women, guys too, happens, but a lot of women get, violated in different ways by these predators, and people should speak up. They should have a moment and say, hey, look, you're not alone. And I think some women hold it inside and get worried that they're going to be judged. That something's gonna happen or they're gonna get laughed at, but it happens and it's okay. Just move forward.
Have you gone back to internet dating?
Never. Never again.
So now
Never.
it's what, through referrals, friends, parties, people that you meet.
Well, I mean, I'm in a relationship now, but it was I met him actually at a job that I worked at. So that's
fantastic.
how we met. Yeah, but
There you
healthy, good old connection.
Not to say that those relationships don't work out, but
some do, but very few.
At least your percentages of being a victim and of a crime, or God forbid a homicide or a murder, are a lot greater when other people know who he is, and if you were to show up missing, they're going to know where to look.
Yeah.
So if you can, young women out there, obviously now with TikTok, and you have all these social media websites of individual sexual predators actually that are infiltrating, elementary school chat rooms and portraying themselves as a little child until this little child feels safe to give up her address. What would you say to parents out there?
You really need to be on the lookout, and they have access through everything, and they know how to speak to your kids. They know how to do emojis and everything else. They know how to copy literally word for word pictures, what to say, when to say, what times to talk to them. I've seen experiences through friends of mine and their kids as well, where they try to reach out to them through what's that game, Roblox. That's like number one right now, I think, for predators. They could just talk to you there, and they give you a sword and a toy, and kids get vulnerable. They don't know any better. And imagine if an adult can be vulnerable. Imagine a child that has no idea. They're pure. They've never been hurt. They've never been in contact with such things, and they think everybody's friendly, and they could say, hey, I'm a certain age, I'm this and that, and like I said, you just don't know, and it happens all the time. It happens.
So what advice would you give a parent to be able to avoid their child?
They gotta be on the lookout. They gotta, look at their phones and their iPads and who they're talking to and where they're going, and not to be so easily trusting, because society is not what it was anymore, and now through all these open channels, they can find out everything about you and your family and your kids. They know where they live through easy access, through IP numbers, to anything. So they need to be aware, maybe put apps on their phone, or see who their friends are and what their friends are up to. It's just, you don't know who's who at all.
What advice would you give women out there that are turning to internet dating?
I don't know. I think keep it close to home if they decide to do that, and try to actually connect people in public and closed sections, or see who they know, as if they know any friends of theirs, and maybe talk to their friends and see, hey, this person on Facebook or whatever, what do you know about them? Try to build some sort of rapport before you really engage. Find out more information. Where do they actually work? Do some research before, because nowadays, like I said, anybody can build up a profile, and it's all BS. It's scary. So.
Or they could also hire our Gotham investigations, and we can run a background check on them, find out if they are married or if they are single, where they live, their financial background, and also we can go after them and do a counter surveillance on you, the dating individual that is going out there, to make sure your first couple of dates you go home safe and he doesn't surveil you at your location. So we're certainly glad to have you on our show.
Thank you.
Express your wisdom out there, your experience, self-healing that you're doing inside. It takes a lot of courage for a woman to come out and do it, and it took her to lose her shit
to talk about my shit.
To talk about her shit and to lose her shit again on this individual and move forward in life. Gotham Investigations, we hope you enjoy this episode. Stay tuned. Our show, do you like our show? Then comment, hit the like button, and subscribe, or you might be the next one we investigate.